Hello everyone and welcome back. Tonight, me and the amazing Swamp Dweller will keep you company with these 4 animated true scary stories. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up and also share because it will help my channel a lot. Also, on my next video we'll announce the prizes for my Patreon page. But for now guys, grab your flashlights and follow me into the darkness.
This story is from my stepdad, who at the time lived in California from a young age into his teens. It was in the 70s when he and his family lived in Desert Center, California. My stepdad, Jake, is guessing he was about 10, old enough to play on his own and be trusted to stay close to home when out with friends. Where could they go really? It was a pretty isolated out there, and there was nothing really to do anyway, so this all loops in with the story though, I promise. So, this Saturday was like any other weekend. Jake got to have a friend over for the night, a kid named Randy. The plan was dinner, movie, games, then bedtime. When dinner wasn't quite ready, both kids were getting antsy inside the house, asking Mom to play outside till dinner was finished cooking. They got permission, and they ran out into the early evening. The backyard was desolate, open and prepped with an old broken-down car, ideal for makeshift jungle gyms for 2 10-year-old boys. For the next few minutes, they were just playing away, and simultaneously, they both were sharing a paused look before they turned their heads up to the sky. My dad just remembers light circling above them. The ship was round and silent. He and Randy were both transfixed on it. Neither of them moved, and they were still as statues with no fear, just watching what was happening in front of them. It was so odd and random, and then it was gone. Both Jake and Randy blinked at each other again, and then hear the rage in Jake's father's voice.
"Where the hell have you been?"
Jake replying, "We've both been here the whole time, Dad."
"The hell you have. You're both an hour late for dinner. I've been out here twice to check for you boys, and neither of you were out here."
Over an hour of Randy and Jake's memory were gone. They both have zero recollection of what happened for the last hour. My dad still swears he doesn't remember a thing other than playing outside, seeing the shape and the lights of something unidentifiable, and his father never believed that Jake or Randy never left the property. To this day, his dad still thinks both boys snuck off somewhere to get into mischief. After another year, my stepdad and his family moved away and didn't return to the same location till he was about 15. And when the family returned, my stepdad went straight to see Randy. Not a moment after the basic questions of hello, how are you, did Randy ask, "Hey, you remember the sleepover at your place?" Jake replying, "Yeah man, but I don't remember entirely everything, just the lights." Randy said, "Same here." So that's my stepdad's encounter with an other kind. He remembers something without actually remember everything, except that his father was very pissed for a while after that. He also lived in a haunted house as well, but I still have to get more details on that one.
My husband works the night shift. He has for years. At first, it was hard to get used to sleeping alone, but as our own son started growing, I learned to appreciate it. Now that I am nearing my 7th month of pregnancy with our second child, all of the extra space in the bed has become a godsend. Before, it wasn't unheard of for Connor to crawl into bed with me every now and then after a late night trip to the bathroom, but lately, waking up with him snuggled up to my back has become an almost nightly occurrence. At 5 years old, Connor has recently found himself in the inevitable "there's a monster in my closet" phase. It started out as a few scattered nightmares. I would wake up to the sound of him crying for me from his room. When this happened, I would sit on the floor beside his bed, smooth his curly hair back from his sweet little face, and make the soothing sounds every mother masters during the newborn phase, until he calmed enough to fall back asleep. Eventually, he would need me to open the closet door and examine it before accepting my reassurances that there was no monster and that it was just another bad dream. When asked about it during daylight hours, he would talk about the scary boy who lived in his closet. The boy in the closet would watch him at night and whisper Connor's name for him to come out and play, and would laugh every time Connor whimpered or cried out for me. One day, I looked down at a picture Connor was drawing and broke out in goosebumps. He was drawing a little boy. The boy in this drawing had pale blue skin and dark blue hair. Its eyes were nearly solid black, except from the crimson irises. Its mouth took up the entire bottom half of the drawing face. Connor had never given his drawings teeth before, but this one had a mouth full of long pointed teeth. "That is quite a picture, Buddy," I told him. "Who is that?" His answer unsettled me more than I cared to admit. "That's the scary boy that lives in my closet. He says that his name is Connor now too, and he says that someday I'll have to go live in the closet and he will come out and live here, and then you'll be his mommy." The next day, while I was out running errands, I ran into the specialty Christian store across town and bought a nice wooden crucifix, complete with a little metal Jesus. Later that afternoon, while Connor was in the living room distracted by his favorite cartoon and a snack, I snuck into his room and hung the crucifix on the back wall of his closet, behind his clothes. That was about a week and a half ago. Since then, I haven't heard a peep about the boy in the closet, and Connor has been once again sleeping soundly. That is until tonight. Tonight, I was woken up by a small hand nudging my shoulder. I opened my eyes and saw my little boy's sweet face. "Mommy, I'm scared. The scary boy from the closet is back." And that was the moment my mind shook off the dregs of sleep. My eyes widened in terror, and my next thought chilled me to the bone. If my son was standing in front of me at the side of the bed, then who or what was laying in the bed with me, snuggled up to my back?
This one time, when I was around 13, I was living in a trailer park with my parents. Both of my parents worked the night shift at a factory, and my sister was moved out by the house by then. I don't believe in anything anymore, but I can't really explain this experience. I was alone at home and playing video games on our oldest television. My parents had gone for the night, and they would not be back until 7 in the morning. Like any other night, I put some music on a radio, ate dinner by myself, and turned in early that evening. My parents hated it when I stayed up late due to a higher electricity bill. After my eyes closed for what felt like a second, I remember walking up and unable to breathe. I couldn't move my arms, legs, or head. I could move my eyes, and I heard this loud buzzing sound in my ears. It was almost like when very high-power lights are kicked on and then they hum. I heard a high-pitched laughter in the middle of the buzzing noise, and that was it. I couldn't hear myself trying to scream or gasp or anything. I didn't feel anything on my body at all, actually, except a pain in my chest from not having oxygen. I could dimly see my room, but it was too dark, and I couldn't really detail anything. This lasted around a minute, but it felt like forever. I simply woke up the next morning, and I was very confused about that night. I have never told anyone this story, not even my parents to this day. The reason why I never told anyone was that the dreams I had afterwards. School had started again, and I largely blocked out that weird night. I can't exactly pinpoint how long it had been, so I'll say 5 months maybe. The day that I had the dream, I can't remember that clearly, but I remember the dream very well. I was sitting on a brown futon with a black frame in the dream. I was in a house with all the lights off. The walls were white, and there was no other furniture. and the carpet was a light brown. I was facing a wall in this room with no features. On my left and my right were normal wooden doors with square engravings on them. The room was about 20 feet wide by 25 feet long. The ceiling was plain white, I think. As well, I remember being calm in the first moments of my dream. Somehow I knew the other people that were in the house, but there were no lights on. While I was in a calm state of observation in the room, the door to my right opened up, and a tall black figure with long black dusters and black wide-brimmed hats came out, and I stepped into the room hurriedly. He crossed in front of me and out the door to my left into another room. I remember I went immediately from being calm to scared shitless. Out of fear, I got up and ran after him. Usually, I would harness an emotion like anger to control being scared, but in my dream I could not. I don't know why, but I just pursued him through the door. He was stopped in what looked like to be an empty kitchen with floor-to-ceiling windows showing a blue evening and a sizable fenced-in yard outside on my right. He was staring out the window in front of me as I approached him from a very, very calm demeanor. I do not know what I meant to do in my dream, but I felt like I was going to attack him despite how terrified I felt. He turned to me and raised his gloved right hand up. At the same point, my feet left the ground and I felt that he was able to pick me up. He was not even physically touching me, but it was a lot like a Darth Vader force choke. I woke up not too long after that. I don't know if these things are linked. I can't explain the high-pitched laughter when I was locked up in my body, that's for sure. I have not taken the time to read through other experiences to see if anything is similar, but maybe you guys can tell me if you've ever heard of anything like that.
I began working at Wendy's in July, and apparently there's a ghost at the one I work at. Now, I believe in ghosts, but I didn't believe at all that there would be a ghost there. My co-workers claimed that the Wendy's we work at was built in an ancient burial ground, which I doubted as well. But now, I believe I have experienced enough unexplainable events that it may possibly be haunted. The first thing I experienced was a box in the cooler. I had gone to get some cheese or something from the cooler and brought it back to my sandwich station. When I returned minutes later, a box was sitting in the middle of the cooler. I know that there are explanations, like maybe somebody put it there. Maybe it was there and I didn't realize it at first. But I know that no other employee had gone into the cooler before, because I would have heard the door opening. Also, the box was positioned so that it would have been noticeable the first time I went to the cooler. Another possible experience was at night. I was closing, like I usually do, with 4 other employees only. We were finishing up and waiting by the manager's office for him to count money and other things. We were all together and no one was off cleaning or anything. Then we all heard a clanging or something. It was coming from the sink area, which makes sense, because that is where all the pans and knives. Our manager, a big guy, was terrified and admitted to hearing sounds like that the most nights when he is left alone. Now, this final experience that I personally had was the scariest thing to me. It was closing time again, and about midnight. I was on back window, worst position ever, and had to clean some dishes and stuff. I was cleaning a grill part when I saw a dark mass behind me. The grill part was silver and somewhat reflecting, and I saw the black mass move across the grill part. I turned around to see if anyone was behind me, but no one was. But it doesn't end there. I blew it off thinking I was either seeing things or it was a result of me moving in a different way or something. I went back to the back window area to lock my window, and as I was doing so, I saw in the reflection of the window that there was a black mass behind me. Again, it looked as though it was back near the dish area. I quickly spun around, and it was gone. I told my fellow employees what I saw, and they also shared with me their own stories, such as hearing whispers and seeing things as well. One extreme story was when my boyfriend, who worked with me, had gotten caught by a knife that fell off a rack. You may be thinking, well, that is possible. But think again. The way the knives hung up makes it almost impossible for them to fall down without being moved. They are all hooked on through a hole on the handle. As he was cleaning the back sink, it fell on his arm. It didn't cut him much, because it was not a sharp knife, but it still scared the crap out of him. Hey there, and thank you so much for listening. I want to say a special thank you to Swamp Dweller for being here with me. He is an amazing narrator, and I am sure that all of you know him already. But if you don't, please follow the link below and go to his channel and subscribe. You will not regret it. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up, and if you like my videos and want to see more, subscribe to my channel. Take care, and I will see you all in my next video.